everyone, my name is Akshobha Aravind and today I'll be telling you about the relationship between temperature and density. Now before we get into that, we have to first understand what is density. So the basic idea of density is that it is the amount of atoms, how close the atoms are there in an object. So let's say I have two objects like this, okay, two boxes. This is filled up with some amount of atoms. Okay? So this one's filled up with like this. Now we can tell that by understanding this definition, we can say that this one is much more dense as compared to this one, because one, it has more atoms, the others because they're all more closer together as compared to this. Now many people want to measure what is density quantitatively. So this is where we use D is equal to mv as the formula, which is D is density, m is mass, v is the volume of the object. Now let's say that we start to heat up this. These two. Now whenever we heat up an object, the atoms of it will start to move and vibrate much more in random directions, okay? So because of this, we already know that the density of an object is determined by the distance between the atoms. So as it starts to move around more frequently, the distance between them will start to increase, hence decreasing density. So density is inversely proportional to temperature. You can write it like this. Proportional to T. So what we mean by inversely proportional? Inversely proportional means that if we increase one quantity, the other quantity decreases. For example, if T increases, D or density decreases. This is an experiment that we have set up, and the materials that we're going to use for this experiment are two containers filled up with room temperature water, these two lifters, these two. Then after that, we have two containers filled up with one with hot water that is colored red, the other with cold water that's colored blue. What we are going to do is that we are going to take this lift and put it in either of these two and put it in the room temperature water and see it at eye level to see the effects of temperature change. So let us do. Okay, so now we have filled it. So let us now put it in the room temperature water. So if you were to look at it like this height, you can see that some of the red water is rising up at the top. Now why is this happening? Well, this is because this hotter water is less dense than the cooler water, than the surrounding room temperature water. This is the reason why it rises up to this height. Now let us take another one, this one. Now that we have filled up this with cold water that is blue in color, let us see its effect. Oh, none of the water is rising up. Now why is this? So this water that is blue in color actually is ice water. Now this is more denser than the room temperature water, or colder than the room temperature water. This will in turn make it heavier than the surrounding water. Hence it will be only in the bottom, which is actually in this container, in the lifter only. Now that we have concluded the experiment and we have gotten the results, we learned two things from this. Number one, we learned that the density of an object is influenced by its temperature. Number two, the more denser the object is, the more heavier it will be. Thank you.